Stem plants for your aquarium are absolutely gorgeous and serve a really good purpose for the general overall health of your aquarium. But there is some downsides, and that's the purpose of today's video, to make you aware of those things. So enjoy. Hello, Aquascaper here, and the purpose of this channel is to share my years of experience within the aquascaping hobby to help you guys. So today I've decided to come outside because the weather's been gorgeous and I didn't want to be stuck in my little studio, hence being in this gorgeous area. So on to stem plants. We've got a huge variety of stem plants. We've got Ludwigia species, we've got Rotella species, we've got Hygrophila species. The list goes on. There's loads. They come in a huge array of colours. So we've got super red, we've got orange juice, we've got baboon horse red. Obviously I made that one up. Anyways, you get the point. I'm not here just to diss on stem plants, of course not. Stem plants are gorgeous. So the benefits, obviously visually stunning in a huge variety of colours, as I was saying earlier. They're fast growing, which can be a downside, which I'll cover later on. And with them being fast growing, what happens is them taking those excess nutrients, helping prevent any serious algae issues. So that's some of the benefits. There is more, but that's in a nutshell the benefits of having stem plants. With them being fast growing, obviously that's a good thing for the excess nutrients, etc. But the downside is the maintenance. The faster growing they are, the more maintenance you're going to have to do. So it all depends on what you want out of your aquascape. So if you're one of those people who wants to put hands in, doesn't mind messing on, trimming plants and replanting plants, that's great. But if you want to sit back and enjoy and not mess with your tank too much, then stem plants can be hard work and it can be a bit off-putting. I decided to do this video because I go through stages where I don't have many setups with stem plants and then I miss them. So I decided to plant a couple of tanks with stem plants, and then I'll be honest, I'm sick and tired of trimming them. And it like I say, I go through phases, but it just made us think of you guys at home. If you're considering getting some plants or you're considering setting a planted aquarium up, I just thought I'd do this video to make you aware of stem plants, because it's easy to go to the shop and you see these gorgeous stem plants, you buy them, and then this is what happens, which can be a bit off-putting, even end up with people leaving the hobby because they just get tired of doing it. But there is alternatives, which I'll cover later in the video. So stem plants, they grow so fast, and as a kind of rule of thumb, once they reach the surface, you should trim them. But at that point, that's when the plants are looking the best. They've got the best colours because they've got near the surface, they're getting that light, and that's when the nice rich colours come out and it looks its healthiest. But then you've got to get the shears out and give them a trim. And that's when they look a bit ugly at times. You trim it all down. Plus, the more stems you have and the bigger aquarium you have, it's more skillful. It's more skillful types of trimming. You have to shape them in. So you give them a nice trim to make them look nice and compact. And you've got to trim from sides to in the middle. You've got to dome them, trim them from front to back. So it's a bit more skillful. Like I say, if you love that sort of thing, excellent. That's my favourite part of trimming the stems, is shaping them. But the bad part is netting out all those cuttings. And when you net them out, you might want to keep some of the better cuttings to replant. So you've got to sit and sort through those and know that chore. I'm making them sound really bad, but they're not. Like I say, it's just things to be aware of. So you trim all these plants and then it's only 2 weeks later, not even that sometimes, and you've got to trim them again. So you're going through all that stage, you trim them. They start to look beautiful, really nice, but you've got to trim them, otherwise they'll just grow out of the water, which, if you want that, that's great, because a lot of stem plants will grow immersed. They'll change leaf shape, sometimes flower, so that is an advantage. But if you want to keep them under the water surface, or you've got a hooded tank, that's no good. So you've got to trim. Reach the surface, trim. Reach the surface, trim. And like I say, that's sometimes on a fortnightly basis, especially if you're injecting CO2. But without CO2 injection, you can still get fast-growing stem plants, such as Zessiflora. Zessiflora is like a weed, grows crazy. Again, brilliant for taking the excess nutrients, but you're forever trimming. If you do let it go, it will just cover the surface, reach over the surface, or maybe it's grow out, I'm not 100% sure. And it'll get leggy on the bottom because you're covering the surface. The bottom of the plant isn't getting the light and it turns leggy, so you'll want to remove it anyways. It looks a bit ugly. So yeah, it does happen in low-tech setups. So Zesiflora, you've got Hygrophila, Simensis 53B, Hygrophila polysperma. They all grow fast and do require trimming in a low-tech setup. Low-tech meaning lower levels of light without CO2 injection. So it's not just the red plants and the gorgeous looking plants you see in high-tech setups. There is some alternatives, not as fast growing, but they will give you a nice backdrop of plants. You've got things like Echinodorus species, and there's tons of Echinodorus to choose from. Echinodorus being Amazon sword plants, tons to choose from. And that's usually the route I go when I'm a bit tired of trimming stems and I rescape. I'll go the Amazon sword route. So that's a good alternative to have a nice backdrop. They do get big leaves. It's just easier to trim because they've got nice thick stems. So you just go down to the base of the stem, cut that off and get rid. It's a lot easier than trimming a load of stems. So that's why it's a good alternative. Another alternative is grass-like plants. So the taller species of what used to be Echinodorus tenuis or helianthums. You've got the taller species depending on the size of your tank. You've got Vivipara, and you've got Cyprus helferi. There's loads of different grass-like plants you can have as a backdrop. Just a bit easier to maintain. You don't cut them to trim them. You actually just pull bits out if it's getting a bit too thick. Again, I think that's a little bit easier than trimming stem plants, and the amount of times you have to trim or pull them out is a lot less frequent than what you would do with stem plants. You've got the taller crypt species, for example, Cryptocoryne balansae or Crispitula. That grows tall and that's a nice plant, and again you just keep that in check by taking them away at the base every now and then. You don't have to trim the actual leaf, and that's quite good because it reaches the surface and just flows over the surface, and it looks really nice. Nice alternative, and it can do fairly well in lower tech setups, same as the Amazon swords. So yeah, some good alternatives to stem plants. Depending if you're injecting CO2 or not, it is a bit more limited on the red colour plants, orange colour plants, because those usually require CO2 injection and higher levels of light. So to have nice reds, usually like the stem plants, it does require CO2 injections. So your likes of some of your sword species can get a gorgeous red or purple leaf, and they look stunning with CO2 injection. Just bear in mind, if you use those without CO2 injection, the colour won't be as intense or it may actually stay green. So just be aware of that sort of thing. So to summarise, stem plants, gorgeous looking, loads of different varieties, and do help with the overall benefits of the aquarium, such as taking those excess nutrients. The downside is the amount of maintenance. So if you don't like maintenance, it's a bad choice of plant group to go for, because you're forever trimming them, replanting cuttings, that sort of thing. So that's the downside, as well as it's just looking its prettiest, then you've got to trim. Looks a bit ugly, grows in, just looking its prettiest, again you've got to trim it down. So that's stuff to be aware of. It's okay to do stuff like topping, people call topping. So any of your cuttings you just like place in between that group of plants. So it's excellent for the purpose of a photograph or a video, but not really long term. Plus sometimes if you can plant, some plants give off side shoots and it'll just mingle in with those plants anyways, and eventually you're just going to have to trim it again. So I think I've went on enough in this video. I'm going to go off and enjoy the rest of this day, go for a nice walk, grab myself an ice cream. Yeah, I think I'll get an ice cream and a nice cup of coffee. Nice treat. So hopefully this video has been helpful. It maybe helped you decide if stem plants are for you. And that was the aim of the video. If you want any other helpful tips, I've got a full playlist which you can click on and watch that playlist, go through loads of little hints and tips in there. If you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting subscribing, because it really, really does help. So thanks guys. To those who already subscribed, as usual, really do appreciate your support. So yeah, that's it. Till next video, see you later.